In sports, the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story, but Netflix does. Stories about dads who happen to be world-class quarterbacks and a battle for the heart, soul, and direction of the multi-billion-dollar business of F1. Whether you're a diehard fan or you're brand new, Netflix has the stories for every type of fan. You can watch these incredible sports stories like Quarterback, F1 Drive to Survive, Untold, and many more now on Netflix.
Welcome to the Scarlets Supporters Pembrokeshire podcast. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Wester is Bester from the Scarlet Supporters Pembrokeshire. Joining me, Lee G, as always is Big M. Martin, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you doing?
Yes, well, end of season. I tell you, the end of Scarlet season, Judgment Day, seems so long ago already. It's like Christmas. It was that long ago that it just feels like so much has happened since then. But we're still, junior tables, the community game, they're all still playing. It's been a weird one, hasn't it?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like I know it's not that long ago since the end of the league and that semi-final with Glasgow, but it does feel like it's been an age. I think it's the same, during the internationals. It feels like 1 week's gone by, we haven't had a game. Like, Jesus, we haven't played in ages. What's going on? But
yeah.
No, we have got the community game to fall back on, and there is some good stuff in there this week.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing with a community game at the minute is where they're playing midweek games and end of week games. So every day you're checking the table and somebody's moving and all of this kind of stuff. It's fantastic stuff.
And you've got some teams playing 2 games in 2 days.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. But we'll come to that in a minute. Let's do some Scarlet stuff first. Let's obviously end of season. But there is a little bit of Scarlet's news, and again, it's behind the scenes. It's backroom stuff. So, what do you make of Nigel Ashley-Jones leaving to join Australia?
It's one of the worst kept secrets down here, I think. I mean, I've known myself for a few months that he was going. Eddie more or less poached him as soon as he got the Australia job. Nigel's an Australian himself. He wasn't going to say no to going back, especially with the national team. My only concern is, rumours here down the grapevine is we're not replacing him like for like. We're not getting another, strength and conditioning coach in. We're apparently restructuring, our strength and conditioning program and coaches to just manage what we got. So I think that's my only concern with the announcement.
So we're basically shrinking the strength and conditioning team. Is that? I mean, this is all rumours and what have you, what we've heard and stuff. But is that what you're hearing? Shrinking the team?
I don't think we're shrinking the amount of strength and conditioning coaches. I think we're just, instead of replacing him with someone experienced, high quality, we're pulling in another, first time graduate or something. And just managing the load between everyone who's currently at the top.
S&C, for me, when you're if you're a professional sportsman, no matter what, whether it's rugby or football or whatever, your S&C is so important. And your physio, it is so important. And then, I'm in an hour in between. Is it really, really important to have, a well-known, respected person in charge of the S&C program, or is that more of a player responsibility, an individual responsibility where everybody kind of pushes it to the max? Do you know what I mean? There's a level where it's your responsibility to get you fit, sort of a thing, at the lower levels. Certainly at the lower levels, that's the way it works. And I don't know how much effect it's had, really.
Yeah, well, I think it's more of the knowledge that they bring and the fact that these are elite sports people. They are already, by the time they hit into any sort of senior professional rugby, their fitness levels should be pretty high, and it's pushing through those barriers to get even better. And that's where I think the strength and conditioning coaches, that's where they find their worth. They find a way to get someone who is, maybe they think they're at 100%, but you find an extra 2-3% on that with all these different methods and different ways around it. That's where I think their worth comes from. And, I'm 100% agreeing with you, strength and conditioning physios, I'd probably say I'd want to make sure they are my best members of my backroom staff, because as long as your players are fit and healthy, they can play. If they're on the bloody sidelines or their fitness isn't up to scratch, it doesn't matter who your bloody coaches are. They can't do nothing with them.
No, exactly. If you sat at home watching a game, you're not much use to anyone. Same as us. We're sat at home watching the game, really not much use to anybody. But so, what do you make of? We've lost strength and conditioning coach, forwards coach, assistant coach, attack coach, however you want to phrase Lee Blackett, whatever he was. That's a lot of backroom people to get rid of, and quite a lot of physios have come and gone through the season. Well, I've not heard of any unhappiness or anything like that. It is just, that's the way it is. But to lose that many people at the same time is quite a lot of upheaval. Do you think?
Yeah, it does seem that way. I mean, if you just go onto the Scarlets page at a minute, you can see we recruited an extra strength and conditioning coach, and we're recruiting 3 physiotherapists. And for my own liking, it's the off season now. This is where your physiotherapists, this is where they make their money. This is where they make sure these players are wound down properly and then wound back up exactly right for the new season. So to be needing to recruit 3 of them at this stage of the year, I think is, it puts you in a bit of a tricky position. When we come to the main coaching team, Blackett was always temporary. There was a hope that he would stay, but we always knew that he wanted a head coach job. So it's a little bit annoying that he has gone for another assistant role. But at the same time, he didn't set on any routes over here. He was traveling every day. So, somewhere closer to home is, the obvious move for him. Yeah. Ben Frank's leaving. That was common knowledge. He was always leaving. I think at some point, last summer, he said this was his last year with us. So I think that was in one of the socials, one of the meetings. I wasn't like out in the media or nothing. But Nigel Ashley, yeah, that was a bit of a surprise a couple of months ago, and that is totally down to Eddie Jones getting the Australia job. He doesn't get that job, Nigel stays here. It's as simple as that. So 2 of them, we have obviously been looking for replacements. A contingency with Blackett, and we've been looking for an out-and-out replacement for Franks for most of the season. And then, Nigel Ashley, like I said, as far as I know, we're not even replacing him like for like. We're just going to restructure and, give his responsibilities to other strength and conditioning coaches.
And given all the other upheaval in Welsh rugby this season, you could kind of do without it. At the end of the season, you could kind of do with just focusing on players and what have you. But it is what it is. It may be an opportunity to restructure and do things a bit differently and find a better way of doing it. But it's a shame we haven't had the announcement. But then, what's the rush? We're not kicking off again until the end of October. So pre-season, I think, is first week of September or something like that. So there's no massive rush in it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice for us fans to know when we are the ones that are always left in limbo. And I think the Scarlets have got a long way to go with us fans and communicating with us better. Because being a Scarlet fan it's not the best at the minute, But all that aside, we have a small bit of good news for one of our players. Harry Williams has been selected for the Great Britain 7 squads for the last 2 legs of the 7 series. So well done to the boy, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in action.
Yeah. And Fafita as well has been named in the URC team of the season as well, which, for his first season with us, yellow cards aside, I thought he's been superb. But, it's, again, straight away, whenever we mention Fafita and Lousy and stuff like that, my head straight away goes to 2-year contract, and that's up at the end of next season. And, are we going to be able to keep them? But I think
it's just one of them things, and we were always going to be in this sport. The only thing I don't like about it is that him and Lousy are, set to renew at the same time. I would have hoped that they could have bloody juggled that. So, we only have to focus on keeping one. We only have to find money for one. But no, we've got to find money for two. But, on the plus side, I know it's not a plus side. We have got quite a few older boys who are at the end of their career who are earning, a fair whack. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were to retire at the end of next season. And I'm talking about the likes of Jonathan Davis, Ken Owens, Gareth Davis. These are, Lions quality players who are at the tail end of the career. So they are going to be on a lot of money. So, my only hope is that if they do retire, that money can be used to, if we can't keep both of them, then at least keep one and replace with another, quality overseas signing.
Yeah. And one thing I'm a little bit surprised at is we've been in the market all season for second row, back row, kind of another replacement for Fafita, essentially. That similar type of player. And then James Ratty gets released by Cardiff, who is back row, second row. He's a big, bulky, heavy ball carrier. He's athletic. He fits into the way we play the game very well. And all the rumours are he's gone back to the Ospreys, who really don't need another back rower. And I'm surprised that we haven't at least made the call. Do you know what I mean?
I think we have made the call. I think everyone's made a call. I know Cardiff made an offer to keep him as well. But he is originally an Ospreys boy. So if there's an offer there, I can understand him going. And as good as a player as Ratty is, I don't think he fits the mould of what we desperately need. We need an enforcer style second row. And he has got a good bit of size about him, but I don't think he plays that way. He is, like you said, he's another athletic style back row 6'8". He is basically a Welsh Fafita, not to the same standard at the minute, but that's not what we're looking for. We need the bulk. We need someone who's maybe 2 inches taller than Morgan Jones and an extra 15 kilos. That would be absolutely ideal for me.
Well, what you're saying is, can we have Jake Ball back, please?
A little bit. Can we have Jake Ball at 24 years old, please?
Yeah. I still think, he left at the same time as Tad Burn, and you just think, losing those two has been a massive, massive blow to the way we played it. I don't think people rated Jake Ball for the work that he did in the tights. Do you know what I mean?
He was absolutely outstanding. The way he marshaled the contact area. That's the best way I can use to describe him. He controlled that area. He was. I know we call Ken the sheriff, but Jake Ball was the sheriff of the ruck. You put if they put a toe out the line, he was in there. He was sorting them out, and that is the style of player we need. No nonsense, nice and bulky, smash a few people to the side.
Well, hopefully we'll have some announcements about backroom and everything else in the coming weeks. But I say, with no great rush on it at the minute, so don't hold your breath, because I say Scarlets social media teams at the minute are not really renowned for pumping a lot of news out at the minute. So, okay, let's move on to the community game then.
Yes, good stuff.
What an insane week. I know for some of these clubs, it's a real pain in the backside. Just trying to get a team out on a Wednesday night and then again on a Friday night and then again on a following Monday, and managing squads, managing buses, managing supporters, and all of this kind of stuff. So, it's had its own challenges, but from a supporter's point of view, wow, this is the way you want the end of season to be, isn't it?
Yeah. When you're not, they're waiting on your local team to go, okay, we're playing tomorrow now, we got to go. It's from when you're sitting back and you're watching the results come in, you're on Twitter, your Tuesday, Wednesday night when these games are going on as well. You're like just watching the scores come in as you're going about your day. And just seeing some of them is brilliant. And you look if I use, was it this week, Nant Garedig and Kidwelly?
Yeah.
That was insane. Just seeing the scores coming back and forth. That was brilliant for me, because I was just there and I was just I'm not watching nothing. I'm not seeing it live. I'm just waiting every few minutes. Give me an update. Give me a score. Give me an update, because I was just bunking for it. It was brilliant.
I remember when I was very, very young, must have been very, very young, watching British Lions scores on teletext and CFAX. And you're just sitting there and you're waiting for the page to update. It used to go round in a loop.
Yeah, I remember.
And you had to wait for it to come round, and then you go, yeah, and there'd be like another 3 minutes before you'd get a score update and stuff. It's it's that kind of feeling, isn't it? And the bit that annoys me with the way small clubs do social, it's obviously somebody who's part of the coaching team or this, that, and the other, and fair play to them for doing it while the game is going. But they don't post a final score, or some of them don't post a final score. So it'll be like 2 minutes to go, and we're 3 points up, and then nothing. And then, well, did they score? Is at the end of the game? And you're sitting there and you're like, oh, well, hang on, 3 minutes to go, and that was 10 minutes ago. What's going on? And whoever's doing their Twitter feed is he's in the pub. But yeah, it's always my. Like Scarlets used to do it, and Wales on Rugby Online used to do it, and I'm sitting there now like, just put that right. Final score is blah 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 blah, and then bugger off to the pub. But
yeah, just write FT. That's all you gotta do. 2 letters.
Yeah, we'll do it for you. So anyway, let's have a look at the championship. So key results in the championship this week. So there's been a full, I say full, there's been virtually a full midweek. So there were 4 games midweek in the championship this week. But if we go back to last weekend, first of all, so Narberth were away in Trebanos. And, where you look at where they are in the table, Trebanos really shouldn't have been troubling Narberth, but they gave them a right torrid game, and they were in the lead. The lead changed back and forth, and Trebanos were in the lead right up until 5 minutes from the end, albeit from a Narberth mistake. A silly pass, interception, what have you, and that gave Trebanos the chance to go into the lead. But fair play to them, they came back and showed a lot of guts, showed a lot of determination to come away with a 17-15 win last Saturday. So yeah, nice one sort of thing.
Yeah, hard fought more than anything. I didn't a chance to look at the team that they named, but I'm assuming there would have been a couple of regulars missing from that, for that game. And it's not all completely over. I think there's another game against Trebanos to come for Narberth. So,
Yeah, well, this is where it gets really confusing now, because so Cross Keys played on Saturday as well. They lost to Cardiff Met, and that's kind of key because Cardiff Met are above Narberth, Cross Keys were below Narberth, but then Cross Keys played Neath again last night, and they lost. That's 2 games they've lost in a week, and no bonus points, no nothing. Pontypool won last night. They won again on. Did Pontypool play on the weekend? No. This is where it gets. You've got to look down and you've got to go who was playing and who wasn't. And I love this. I love it. It is brilliant. This is.
Yeah, so, I think Pontypool are up now, and they.
Yeah, I think Pontypool and Neath haven't been confirmed, have they? Because
they need another 5 points, I believe.
Yeah, because Bargoed are like 1 point behind, but Neath have got 2 games in hand on Bargoed. So, yeah. And then, so Narberth. So we were saying, Narberth could make 5th, I think we said. So,
yeah.
3rd, 4th. So Cardiff currently in 5th, Narberth in 6th. 7 points between them, but Narberth have got 2 games in hand. So that must be Cardiff Met season then.
Yeah, the Cardiff Met, the final game I think is on Saturday against Pontypool. So I can't imagine them doing anything in that game. So that's going to finish them on 70 points. Cross Keys, they've got to play Neath again. Oof. So that's another game that I can't see them winning. So the Cardiff Met result was the big one. I thought Cross Keys were the main contenders to really knock Narberth out to the 5th place contention. But that loss to Cardiff Met has really shook things around, and it's all in Narberth's hands now, as far as I'm concerned. They got they're not simple games, but away to Tata Steel, away to Glamorgan Wanderers, and then home to Trebanos. Narberth's final 3 games, all 3 very winnable games, and that is literally all they have to do. Don't need to worry about bonus points, nothing like that. Win your games, and they're finishing as high as they possibly can at this stage.
Yeah, and you'd like to think that with those run-in of games, that should be, crank it up sort of a time. So at home against Trebanos, I'd expect a better performance. In all honesty, Glamorgan Wanderers, Narberth played them a couple of weeks ago and gave them a bit of a spanking. And Tata Steel have struggled all season, done well to even just put a team out for some of it, but not won a game. Tata Steel not won a game all season. So you'd like to think that, there's a couple of bonus points there. Ystrad Rhondda are probably too far away, but, finishing 5th in that league, I think that's an excellent finish for Narberth if they finish 5th in that league this year.
Yeah, I think it's more or less that everyone has improved. So for the fact that they've kept the same finishing position from last season is, I know it might not look at anything if you just put on paper, last season 5th, this season 5th, but all the teams around them have improved massively.
Yeah.
And Narberth, they're going to be bitterly disappointed with themselves over the season. There's been quite a few silly results where they could have very easily won games and potentially put themselves in contention for finishing 3rd, which I know it looks a bit of a stretch at the minute, but that's the sort of things we're talking about. There was just 4 or 5 games where they just didn't switch on for the entire game, which is really unfortunate. But the prospect now with the championship split in, and finishing 5th, only Bargoed and Ystrad Rhondda are going to be ahead of them in this championship. And they are both going to be in the East section. So they are looking to be the strongest team in the Championship West going into next season. So an opportunity for a title and potential, if the Premiership is still going in its current format, to go up to the Premiership.
Yeah, we're jumping too far ahead there with Welsh Rugby, mate. I wouldn't start predicting anything within Welsh Rugby beyond the end of next week, I'll be honest. But,
I like to be positive. I like to look at the potential.
Well, let's have a look at One West then, because
Christ. Let's just make this clear. It's been 10 days since we recorded last, and when we recorded, Crymych were undefeated.
Yeah,
looking to go on and win the title, and in that time, they've lost 2 games and been awarded a walkover for the weekend.
Yeah. So it was the 3rd. Yeah. So we recorded and put it out before Crymych Newcastle Emlyn kicked off. So Newcastle Emlyn beat Crymych 37-14 in Crymych, and we all thought that was the game for Crymych to really, if they nailed that one, they were job done. So that was the third game. On the fourth, walkover between Wellinvoyle and Llanelli Wanderers. On the 6th, so that was Saturday. I said I've got to work out what days they are now. On the 6th, so Hendy gave Pembroke a bit of a tonking. Whitland walkover. Aberystwyth had a walkover against Whitland. Gowerton then beat Newcastle Emlyn.
Yeah,
nobody saw that coming.
That result, that really piqued my interest, just because obviously Newcastle Emlyn they beat Crymych, in the midweek. Fine, it's done. But, Crymych still have an opportunity to go on and finish second. Because, Newcastle, they just fall short for whatever reason. And then the game against Llangennech, and it's...
Well, 27-12 Llangennech. So like you say, and we've been talking about this for the last 4 or 5 weeks, where you could see those three kind of separating. And we were looking at the end of the season. We were looking at the running, and we were going... Crymych, Newcastle Emlyn, Llangennech, Crymych. Oh, this is fantastic. And it's turning out to be exactly what we wanted it to be. You genuinely don't know between those three who's going to be top of the table and who's not. It's really fantastic.
Well, now we do. We know Llangennech have won the league now. So, it's...
Have they, though? Because Crymych had a walkover last night against Llanelli Wanderers.
Yeah, they've maxed out. It's 22 games. Newcastle Emlyn can only get to 91 and Llangennech on 94.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, I had another round of games in my head. So,
yeah,
yes, of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
If we go back 2 months ago to when I was saying, I think Llangennech might be a bit too strong. I think with the games in hand, I think they're going to do it. And then I switched. I was bouncing for Crymych again. And I was like, why didn't I trust myself? Like I knew this was coming, but I'm heartbroken from. I mean,
what a week to be a Crymych supporter. But I think the thing in that league now is that the top is what it is. It's been fantastic, great end to the season. But the bottom 4 sides, Hendy, Whitland, Pencrowth and Pembroke, bearing in mind, this is Division 1 West, okay? So we're not talking about village sides and all of that kind of stuff. All 4 of those sides have had points deducted because of games not played. So, there's a lot of positivity in that league. But then there's also a fair bit of, something's not quite right. Do you know what I mean? Something's not quite right.
I mean, all 4 of them have had 4 points deducted from what I can see, and I don't know how the WRU work it out with the sanctions, because I know quite a few teams, have forfeited games and not been punished. I mean, look at Llanelli Wanderers, they forfeited a good couple games now, and there's no deduction for them. So it's it's just one of them. I'd like to know the workings out and everything, who decides these things, but it doesn't change the table at all. Regardless, they are the bottom 4 for a reason.
Yeah.
And next season they're going to be the middle teams, the mid-table teams. So it's going to be interesting just to see if they can get sides out again.
Yeah,
because we were talking from the start of the season. What is this Whitland side, and it seems to be falling apart now. With it's not nice to see. It's not nice to see it with like you said with the village teams. Let alone with a club that is as big.
Got a fair bit of history and stuff, isn't it? Yeah. So there are still a couple of games left in Division 1 West. So we've got Newcastle Emlyn and Wellinvoyle on Friday?
Saturday.
What day is it today?
The 11th, Thursday.
All right, yeah.
You're
Oh God!
your old age. I'm going
It
to be sending you to the doctor now,
is.
checking you out for dementia or something. This isn't good.
It's the bank holidays mess with my head, man. So, so Newcastle Emlyn, Vellinfoyle, you put that down as a comfortable win for Newcastle Emlyn, and
yeah, and if they win that game, that guarantees them second. So,
yeah,
it's a nice, prestigious way to end the season.
And then the only other game this weekend is Hendy against Aberystwyth. And, Aberystwyth, you kind of expect them to be having a bit better season, but, they're not really going to trouble anyone. So they're going to end up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one way or another. I suppose, no. If Vellinfoyle beat Newcastle Emlyn, then they might be able to overtake Aberystwyth, but I can't see that happening. So yeah.
Vellinfoyle, they forfeited a game last week, so it's just hoping that they get a team out.
Yeah. And then there is one more game on the 17th, Neckley Wanderers, Pencloud. I can't see that game going ahead because Pencloud and Neckley Wanderers are both forfeited games over the last couple of weeks. So
it's a game of chicken. Who's going to forfeit first?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's the way it is. And that will wrap up Division 1 West. So Division 2 West.
Oh, this is the one. This is the one. Oh, I love this league. I love this league so much. It's something. We're literally, most teams 1 or 2 games, to complete this season, and we've still got 6 teams in the running for promotion. It is brilliant.
And you almost you enjoy being part of it, but then there's also a bit where you're going, yeah, I'm not enjoying the fact that you could go from 3rd down to 5th and all of this kind of stuff. It's a real tense finish to end to the season. So there are, there's Milford, Buryport, and Kidwelly, who are all on 19 games. Yeah. Which is a little bit bizarre. So if we this is going to be a bit weird now because we'll flick between results and fixtures. So we were up to the 2nd. So last Saturday, Buryport played against Milford Haven. That's important. Buryport played Milford last Saturday and won 30-15. Okay. In Milford. Now, flip that round because they're playing again tonight in Buryport. And
if we look at the results, last night,
Buryport beat Carmarthen Athletic on a walkover. I mean, how insane is that for an end to the season where, Carmarthen Athletic played last Saturday, should have played last night, and should be playing on Saturday as well. Just insane. Anyway, let's have a look at last Saturday's results. So Tenby comfortable win away in Carmarthen Athletic. I think that was that gives them the confidence to go into the last game of the season. Now, Fishguard had a walkover against Tickroyce, which, if you're Fishguard, you'll take that every day of the week. That's fantastic. You've got to love that. And then the game of this round, Nant Garedig and Kidwelly. So Kidwelly are in 2nd, Nant Garedig in 5th, and Nant Garedig turned them over. So 32-30 sounded like a fantastic game.
Oh, but like I said, I was watching it on Twitter and it was unreal. Kidwelly got off to a stormer. I think they was on 15-0 up, and then Nant Garedig turned it around. They went into halftime 16-15 up, but Kidwelly weren't having none of that. They've raced back into the lead. They got, I think it was something like 23-20, and no, not 23-20. What was it? Oh, it's not important. Bugger it. They were Kidwelly scored a try, so it would have been not 22. Would have been 22-16. And then they got another try and a penalty, so they're like 30 points to 16, I think it was. And I was there saying, yes, this is it. This is Nankeredig. They're getting no points from this game. That means that Tenby have got a nice clear run. They don't have to worry about, their last game. And then they went and put another 16 points on the board, and they ran out 32-30 winners. Oh, probably the worst description of a game and a scoreline you'll ever hear.
But that's the way it is at the end of the season. It is so back and forth and all of this. I'm loving it. I love the fact that Kidwelly lost. That because that almost they can Tenby catch them? Not really, can they? No.
But this that result, Ponta de Lice are firmly champions now. So that one game has messed everything up. It's allowed Ponta de Lice to have a nice little relax now. They've won the league, which doesn't bode well considering the fixtures for Tenby coming up. And Nankeredig are still in with a shout of third place.
Well, so were Mumbles. Mumbles on 67 points. Mumbles played Lacher last night and won 31-25. Again, quite a close game. But you look at where that leaves the table now. So you've got Tenby in third place on 68 points, played 21 games. Mumbles in fourth, 21 games, 67 points. Nankeredig in fifth, 20 games played, 64 points. And then Bury Port, logistically, could they? So 59 points.
Bury Port and Nankeredig can both finish on 74. Mumbles, I think, can finish on 72. And Tenby can finish on 73. But this is why this weekend is absolutely massive in this league. Because in that top six, 4 of them are against each other.
Yeah.
It's Bury Port and Kidwelly. It's a local derby. Kidwelly, they still need a point to guarantee promotion. Because like we said, they're on 74 points, but both Bury Port and Nankeredig can get to that. So they need to put Bury Port down. That's what they've got to do. So Bury Port, Kidwelly need to win to go up. Kidwelly do this and knocks Bury Port out of promotion. That's it. Good news for Tenby. Then the other game, Mumbles, Ponta de Lice. So Mumbles, another one in contention. But Ponta de Lice, they are champions. Are they undefeated, or have they only lost the one game?
I think they're undefeated, aren't they?
No, I'm pretty sure they lost
game. Oh, yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes.
Yeah, so they've gone all season losing just one game. I think they're going to want to keep that record and finish on a high. So, fingers crossed, Ponta de Lice do Mumbles. That's Mumbles' last game. That's them out of the promotion battle. So it literally runs down to Tenby and Nankeredig.
On the final game of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, but this weekend as well is Carmarthen Athletic against Nankeredig. And I know, Tenby done a number on them last week. They forfeited a game in midweek. But they were 3-4 miles apart. This is another local derby. This could get ugly. I'm really hoping for Carmarthen to do a number on them. I'm not expecting it, but I'm hoping. I'm hoping that we go into this final round with Tenby don't have to do nothing. But, it is what it is at this stage. It is really exciting. And, you should be able to hear it in my voice. I'm buzzing for it.
Well, Carmarthen, so Carmarthen Athletic play Nankeredig this weekend. Then next midweek, they play Kidwelly away. So, they're playing all the teams at the top of the table as well. And they could actually, if they turned both of those sides over, that's a massive effect on that Tenby game against Nancaredig. So, yeah, you've got to love this. Coming down to the end of the season and almost, these last games are going to be watching minute by minute and just going almost like, remember the old Diddy printer? And you're getting the score updates coming through and all of that kind of stuff.
Not that old, but
you missed out on life for the Diddy printer, mate. The little old bloody, it must have been a DOS 2 system or maybe even a DOS system where you could just
does anyone actually know what you're talking about right now?
It's on Grandstand. Used to be on Grandstand on a Saturday afternoon, and it would just go like and you'd have like round the Diddy print, and then the Diddy printer would start going nuts and all this kind of stuff. So, and you're watching like as scores come in and all that. It's the same now. Just back in those days, it used to be this tiny little green and grey screen with this little flashing thing in the corner going and then when it started moving, everyone would get excited because there's a score coming in or something. That's how this last weekend is going to be. It's going to be everybody's going to be tuned into each other's games. Everybody's going to hope that they've got it all done and dusted before. But yeah, that Tenby Nancaredig game. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. And loving that. Loving the way that it's finishing. I wouldn't want to be a coach. I wouldn't want to be Alid right now with Tenby.
Right, yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, that boy's already had some heartbreak this season. He couldn't do it anymore.
He'd be great. He'd be as great as I am by the end of the season, I'm telling you. Right, let's have a look at 3 West A. So again, let's have a look. Let's go back to last May 3rd. That's when we did our last pod, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that night, St Clair's played Neyland 45-0. Nothing wrong there. We're all on board with St Clair's being amazing. Second time this season that Neyland have failed to score. I think that's their concern there. Everything's looking rosy. Then we come into Saturday, St Clair's Lampeter, first v second. And this is the one that we were saying, this is why it's getting juicy. Every single league has got fixtures like this in at the minute. Fantastic. And we've been saying how amazing St Clair's have been all season. They were at home. Lampeter 28, St Clair's 24. I mean, come on, man.
That was a result that I wasn't quite. I knew it was going to be close. We knew it was going to be close, but we didn't expect it to go to the away side. But they got the bonus point. St Clair's did, and that could mean absolutely everything when it comes to this weekend because it's not over between these two yet.
Well, you've then got on last Saturday as well, Aberaeron, who've had an up and down season against Larne. Larne have had a pretty good season, and Aberaeron turned over Larne quite comfortably, 44-27. And you're like,
they're 43rd. Larne were comfortably ahead of them, but that game did flip it a bit, and it's an outside shot, but Aberaeron could overtake Larne in the table now, which is highly unlikely, given that Larne have got to play someone else who's below them. But it leads to a brilliant end of season.
Well, we also then got another game on Saturday: Llanybother 43, Pembroke Quins 36. Just in terms of entertainment value, 43-36 for teams that are both kind of down the bottom of the league. Both would have expected to be higher than where they are. Fantastic just to have that kind of game at the end of the season.
Yeah, almost a point a minute. That's bloody brilliant stuff. You know what I mean? You got to, when end of season, you can't get relegated or nothing. You got nothing else to do. Let's have a good let's just play around. Let's see what rugby really can do. And that's what you love from your local side, from your village teams. Just what you do. You play rugby in its finest form.
So then we move to Tuesday night. Neyland at home to Lampeter. Lampeter won 42-12. Then we move to Wednesday night, and we've got Aberaeron at a walkover against the Quins and St. Clair's. So they must have played that game, St. Clair's against St. David's, because they won 36-0. Just to get from St. Clair's to St. David's with a full team on a Wednesday night at this point of the season, fair play.
Yeah, but they need it. They're still in the hunt for the title.
Well, you now look at so we're resulting for this weekend.
No, not this weekend.
Oh, that's the weekend after. Oh, Langham have had enough. Langham have gone on the piss.
We're fast forwarding a week and a half into the future to pick this result out just for you guys listening.
So Lampeter had a walkover against Langham, which now means, so as we stand going into this weekend, and we'll have a look at this weekend in a minute, St. Clair's are on top, 21 games played, 95 points. Lampeter, 20 games played, 94 points. And I think that's why that Langham game was important, because, walkover, full bonus points, blah, blah, blah. It gives us that kind of, this is where we are sort of a thing.
But one thing that we need to note by here is that St. Clair's have won 20 games and Lampeter have won 19. And the first tiebreaker when it comes to being tied on points is games won. So that could become very, very crucial this weekend.
But if Lampeter win their game in hand, they'd go above St. Clair's anyway. So they'd be...
Yeah, but we still got the St. Clair's Lampeter rematch to get through.
All right, so let's go down the league. So we got Lampeter in second place, 20 games played, 94 points. So it's between those two. Larne, 21 games played, 81 points. And then Aberaeron, 21 games played, 78 points. So there's still a little bit between those two. And then we go Haverfordwest on 66 points, Neyland 55, Cardigan 48, St. David's 43, Quins on 20, Langham 13, Llanybeth 9, Tregaron down the bottom -1. Yeah. There's still things to play for. So the end of the season looks like
I haven't had this confirmed yet, but the promotion scenario in 3 West A and B is a little bit skewy because it's the best second place team. Now, if we look over to 3 West B, the second place team, it can only get 83 points. So both Lampeter and St. Clair's are miles above that. So I think I'm right in thinking that both St. Clair's and Lampeter are being promoted.
Yeah, you would have expected so, because it's Trim Saran that could, but they've only got one game left, haven't they? Trim Saran.
They can only get 83 points, and that's 11 behind Lampeter now.
Yeah. So yeah, must be, but still.
Yeah.
It's about winning that league. So the last weekend of the last couple of days of this division then. So this weekend, Cardigan at home against the Quins, and then so Cardigan against Quins. I'm going to go Cardigan win. I'd love to see the Quins pull something out at the end of the season. I really would, because the boys deserve it. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
It is what it is. It'll be a nice game for these guys to finish this season off. If I think that's Cardigan's last game. We've got another one. But let's get on to the firecracker. Let's get on to the big one.
So, Lampeter at home to St. Clair's this Saturday. Winner takes all-ish, kind of.
Yeah.
I think the bit after this. So if St. Clair's win...
St. Clair's need to finish this match 5 match points above Lampeter. So if Lampeter get a bonus point, St. Clair's need a bonus point. If Lampeter get 2 bonus points, it's in Lampeter's hands. If St. Clair's want to win this title, they need to win this game and win it with a bonus point by 8 points.
Yeah, and they need to stop Lampeter from getting any bonus points, try bonus points, or runners-up bonus points, sort of a thing.
St. Clair's win this, and they finish level on points. St. Clair's win the league on games won. That's one thing I would have out earlier. But it's a week ago, 28-24 in St. Clair's, and they couldn't have made this any better, because I think this was one of the games that got rearranged because of the Queen passing away. And as much as it annoyed me at the time of having another day off, kids home from school just after summer, this has worked out lovely. And unreal, one literally 8 days, first and second, twice.
Yeah, this is what you want. And as a club administrator, this is going to drive you around the bend, trying to get teams together, trying to get the logistics together to play these. But as a supporter, this is, just fantastic. We should say, so after Lampeter St. Clair's on Saturday, there are games next week. So Lampeter away in Tregaron. Tregaron are on -1 points. Lampeter should be told. So you can't really see Tregaron disturbing Lampeter there. And then Aberystwyth on St. David's midweek as well. I can't see St. David's turning the side out for that, I'll be honest. And then next Saturday on the 20th, Quins at home to Tregaron. I hope Tregaron turn up and play the game, because the trip home after that, last game of the season, hopefully some nice weather, fancy dress, last game of the season, nothing really on it. I mean, that's a pub crawl and a half. That's a 4 o'clock in the morning finish, and you're starting at the Quins. You're not leaving the Quins until about 9-10 o'clock at night. Trust me. So I hope that let Tregaron make that last game of the season something quite special for them. Just to, remember that season where we finished the game. We finished the season away at the Quins, and we didn't get home until 4 o'clock in the morning, and 6 of us got arrested and 3 of us ended up in Ireland. Do you remember that game? That's the kind of way you want to finish the season if you're Tregaron at this point. So, but let's not take away from the rugby side of it. Lampeter St. Clair's that's the key one. That's the big one.
Oh, you went off on one hell of a tangent then, mate. That was brilliant.
When I used to play cricket many, many years ago, and we had an end of season cricket do, and I kind of went to it, but I'd already started playing rugby. The rugby season had started back and what have you. So I played the game in the afternoon, and then I went to the presentation in the evening, and I couldn't really stay very long because various bits of me were falling off. And then I caught up with some of the boys the morning after, and I was like, "Oh, so how was the presentation?" And they were like, "Oh, that's great, but we lost a couple of boys." And I'm like, "What do you mean? What do you mean you lost a couple of boys? A couple of boys ended up on the ferry to Ireland." And I'm like, "How did you?" I said, "Yeah, they got to about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and they got to about midnight. They were like, 'Oh, we want to keep going,' and they said, 'No, bar's closed, boys. Off you go.'" So they went down and jumped on the ferry and went over to Ireland just so they could keep drinking on the ferry. And they came back home at like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, yeah, that's about the way an end of season do should be, But that was the cricket boys. That was, and I could tell you some stories about the cricket boys that make the rugby boys look amateur. Trust me. So anyway. I digress. So, it's going to be a fantastic end to the season, and just what we're looking for. Just the way we want to do it. So, all well and good. All well and good. So, what I'm going to say now, is we're going to do some like a review of the season and what have you in a couple of weeks' time. When everything's finished, we'll do a proper review of the season. We'll do a review of the Scarlets season. We'll do a review of the community season and what have you. But if anybody knows any players that fancy a chat, regardless of all coaches from Scarlets or anyone, we just want to do a bit through the summer of having a chat with people and players and all of those kind of things. So if anybody fancies it, drop us a line. We'll do some more on social media between now and then anyway, but drop us a line because, give us something to talk about over off season then, won't it?
Yeah, otherwise it's going to be a bit of a drawn on.
Well, I've still got a list of conversations that me and you have had through the season, and we go, right, well, we'll leave that until the end of the season. We'll leave that until rugby's finished. So if we don't get anybody on, we're gonna have to start going through things like why we haven't got a Scarlets ladies side. We're gonna have to go through tackle height. We're gonna have to go through mental health support. We're going to have to go through concussion, college structure, structure of the leagues, and then we get onto the WRU stuff. That's before we get onto the off-field stuff. So yeah, we got a lot to go through. Mate.
The WRU makes Welsh rugby, very, very interesting. It gives us enough material to last up the summer. And a long summer is going to be.
And it's before we start with the World Cup, and then we go into the season, and before you know it, we'll be sitting here going like, well, that was a fun season again, wasn't it? So, right. I think we're all done, Matt. I think we're finished, and or have I missed something again? Have I missed something that we were going to talk about?
No, I think, we've got everything. The only thing we haven't done is touch on the URC playoffs, but I think people already know that if they're interested. Stormers, Connacht in one semi-final, Leinster, Munster in the other. Should be cracking games.
3 Irish sides in the last 4. It's that's something else that we can talk about through the summer, mate, because we all have our theories. So anyway, we'll leave it there. But it's been great as always, mate. I shall catch up with you again next week. And with hopefully no bank holidays next week, so we'll be able to do it a lot earlier. So, Yay.
Absolutely brilliant. The kids in school on a Monday. I'm loving it. It's been a pleasure. See you next week.
All right, mate. All the best. Cheers, Bart. Ta-da. You have been listening to the Westerer is Besterer podcast from the Scarlet Supporters PEMS team. You can follow us on Twitter on Scarlet PEMS, find us on Facebook with Scarlet Supporters Pembrokeshire, or email us on scarletspems@gmail.com. And remember, West is best, but Westerer is Besterer. Cheers.
Sports Social Podcast Network.